Hi everyone.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Arabella Espinoza. I'm going to be your host. Today we are here for day 2 with Juan Jose Egusquiza. We're really excited to get started on day 2, and please let us know where you are watching from. Say hello. We're always curious to know where people are from, so don't be shy and say hi in the chat. Hi, Demir. How's it going? Tim is joining us again. Hello.
Hey, hi Tim.
Hi, Gaurav. Hi, Valder. Thank you guys for joining us. If you don't know, today is day 2 of digital imaging with Juan Jose, and we're really excited to have him show us his work. Oh, hi, Axel. Welcome back.
Hello.
Yeah, we've got some people who were watching from yesterday and some who are new, so we're really excited. So just a couple of things to go over real quick. In about half an hour, we have got a chat and win. So if you are active in the chat and you're talking and communicating with us, you'll have a chance to win a giveaway. So that'll be, you'll have a chance to win 100 free 3x3 stickers from Sticker Mule, which is super exciting. I love stickers. You can never have too many. But otherwise, if you don't win, that's cool too. We'll have a deal for 10 stickers for $1 if you go to stickermule.com/AdobeLive19. So yeah, and then we've got another full day today. So if we can take a look at the schedule, that would be awesome. So we just went over the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with Jesus. That was to add a background blur effect on any image to any photograph in Photoshop. And then we've got Juan Jose till about 11:30. Then we've got an XD Daily Creative Challenge with Sam. And then at 12 o'clock, we've got Design Systems with Amy Baxter. So we're really excited. Hi, Nikhil. Hello from India. That's awesome. Hi, Deborah. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed yesterday's. You're watching from Atlanta.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you guys for joining us again. If you are new, though, I'd love to introduce you to Juan Jose. If you want to talk a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. I'm a digital artist. I've been using different mediums to create images. And in the past years, I've been using I've been creating a lot of image compositions, and where I just create what I call impossible stories and impossible landscapes. And what I'm doing right now is showing a little bit my process and showing a little bit what kind of how I start, combining different landscapes from different cities and making, this. Surreal, but also real.
Yeah, a little bit surrealism, a little bit Magritte inspired.
Yeah.
So Juan Jose is actually a Adobe Creative resident, so he has been working on this project. It's called Impossible Stories or Landscapes, correct? And so, we're really excited to hear his process or have him talk about and show us what he does. So.
Yeah, sure. Oh, thanks, team, for sharing my Behance.
So if you want to follow him, his Instagram is at @JuanJose_XYZ. You can also make sure to check out his website, which is juanjose.xyz. So super easy. Here, I'll show you a little bit.
Yeah, that's a little bit of all the tools that I use.
So Juan Jose, if you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah, I mean, I love learning new software. I love learning new tools, and I think I encourage everyone to just learn. Oh, thanks, Sin. She's there as well. So I encourage everyone to just keep just start learning something, mess around with it, and you're gonna start finding some cool spots, and you're gonna start liking it as I did.
Awesome. So this is his series that he's working on, the Impossible Stories, where he takes daily life and manipulates them to create a whole reimagine it to be a whole new different scene.
And for example, what I'll be doing today and yesterday is I'm gonna use mainly images that I took or some stock images, but I'm right now combining or creating 3D assets in different software and then combining them with real images. So just as a way of thinking of how you can integrate all these tools.
There's so many tools available, and so it's awesome that you can integrate and use different things to create something new. So we're excited. Cool. Well, if you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing today.
So today, I'm going to be first doing some color correction in Photoshop, then in Lightroom, And then I'm gonna show basically how I sort of created this this image. I'm gonna do something similar. So yeah, I'm excited to share it with you.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, say hi in the chat if you're just joining us. Hi, Deborah.
And yeah,
hi,
please
Karen.
send us questions if you have
Yeah,
any.
if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Juan Jose is here, so he is available and he has a lot of knowledge and is excited to show you guys.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so first I'm just gonna start with some color correction that I've. So the way I work is basically I would just do the first basic editing in Lightroom, and then I would just import all of that into Photoshop, and then that's where I start doing all the composition and compositing.
Awesome.
But I also do, there is a way of doing some color correction as well in Photoshop. And I'm going to start explaining a little bit how you
Yeah,
you
when
can-
you said Photoshop first and then Lightroom and then back to Photoshop, I was like, oh, please show me.
So, I mean,
Awesome.
they are not going to be, this is just different images, but I'm just going to show, I'm just going to do some color here.
Perfect.
In a different image, I'm going to do something different. It's just, for people to see all the options that you have,
Yeah.
right?
Awesome.
Cool. So let's start. For example, what I'll do basically at the beginning is just start with simple brightness and contrast, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
I usually like a lot of kind of
Kind of
darkish.
darker, moodier. Yeah, I could kind of tell from your style on your
That's
Instagram
like
and,
my
and
style.
everything. So cool.
Then I will just try to add a little bit of color, color balance. I also tend to like most of my images. They sort of like have this kind of bluish color.
Yeah. Is that intentional? You kind of like to keep that?
I think it's.
Throughout
I just
all the
started
images, or-
editing, and then I found this I found this aesthetic and this sort of lightning and color, and I just kept with it. So.
Awesome. So Michael says, hi guys, I've just finished my first year at university and come here for some inspiration as I'm studying graphic communications.
Awesome. I
Awesome.
hope I
Hi,
can
Michael.
contribute.
Yeah. Alberto says, asks what tools software are you learning now?
Oh, right now
Right.
I'm Cinema 4D, Blender, just different software that I can create assets that later
That you
on I
can
can
then
import
move
here.
in, move into Photoshop. Cool.
Okay, so after I do this, basically, I try. Let's say I'm kind of happy with this, but there's like so many tools here you can use. I'm just gonna cover a
Right.
couple of them. So once you already have this, and you're sort of happy, there is a way for you to, for example, if you grab all these images together and you press Command E on the Mac, you merge all of these layers into one, right?
Yes.
But if you, let's say you don't want to do that, right? Because sometimes you just want to be able to go back all the time.
Yeah, totally.
So if you go to the top of all the layers and you
Okay.
just press Shift, Option, Command E.
Oh my goodness, what hotkey is that?
So I'll repeat it: Shift, Option, Alt, Command E, and that's
Awesome.
basically going to create a new layer with all
With
of
all
this.
the ones that you just did.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
everything that's underneath that layer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
So in that way, you can just mess around with just that simple image. It's going to have everything together.
And then
yeah.
that way you can still go back. So
Yeah,
you're not,
exactly,
like,
exactly,
destructive
exactly.
editing.
and I just usually what I do is I try to keep I just made a copy so I can
Yeah. Just keep on working with it.
yeah.
Awesome. Balder has a question. How can I develop my eye to see if something is working or not, as in color, lights, in a composite with a lot of different assets?
I mean, it just start testing around, just start making and start doing.
Yeah.
And then I think you're gonna develop your own eye. There's no specific eye. Just
Yeah.
everyone develops their own.
Their own thing, what they
Yeah,
like, and yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
So
Thank
from
you.
here, what I will do is just go to filter, and I will just go into camera raw filter.
Yakov says, do you avoid automatic color correction?
Yeah. I like to just have all my I like to have control
Yeah.
of all the image.
I think a lot of us do.
Yeah. So once you have this gives you a lot of options in terms of how you can actually, change the color of. So I'm just gonna start making a little bit. So
Thank you, Tim, for
Thank you,
posting
Tim.
that.
yeah,
with
thanks
those
for
hotkeys.
yeah. So here I'm just gonna start messing around, and it's all about you start playing around with it. This is my taste, right? But if you don't like, for example, this kind of colors, you can just adjust to your own.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, let's play with this. Highlights a little bit. So I just spent some time just, for example, looking at the clouds and see if I can find some like contrast in them. For example, in terms of shadows, if you add too much shadow, then you lose a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of detail.
So I try to not. I try to make this sort of combination there.
Yeah. I have a question from Michael Orr. He says, "Where did your inspiration come from? Any particular artists?"
I think a lot, but I also think that as my work has developed, also like my search or like the artists that I follow or also develop a lot.
Yeah,
I can share with you guys
Everyone
later
changes.
like a list of the artists that I follow right now.
Cool.
And then I just keep doing this clarity as well. And there's for example here you can start messing around with this, but it's I'm gonna just a little bit. I like the effect that it creates on the clouds.
Very cool.
The vibrance a little bit. No.
You've got Brazil in the house.
Brazil, yes, yes. And then as you see here, you have all these different options. You can keep playing with this. Now you can see more of the clouds like on the right side. So yeah, I spent a lot of time, just messing around, tweaking all of this.
Yeah.
And a good advice is if you go and you start using one of these tools, you don't know what it's doing, just go to the to one of the extremes, go to the other.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna see, okay, what is it doing, right? Then you see here, I like it here. Then I'm gonna just I'm not gonna cover everything right now, but I encourage you to just mess around and see what everything is doing. For example, this tool, affects individual colors in the image. So if you start messing around with the reds here, you can see.
And this is the HSL adjustments, right?
Yeah.
In the hue section.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna try to make all of this a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of makes those like signs and kind of all the
Yeah, you see
signage
that,
back
right?
there.
Yeah,
definitely.
So what I want in this image is sort of play a little bit with like the contrast of colors. You see like warm colors, especially here on this wall, and then you have this sort of bluish here. I like that, so I'm gonna try to make the blue a little bit more.
That's really nice. Michael Glancy has a question. What age did you become interested in like graphic design / art?
So 3 years ago, I only knew how to use contrast in Photoshop. That's like a simple answer. So, and I've been, I've spent a lot of hours just messing around and playing with it. And now I feel kind of happy with it.
That's cool. Yeah, you've kind of developed your own little style.
And then, for example, here you could see a lot of for example, you can play with the highlights. You can give it a certain color, right? You could see how I try or I tend to make everything bluish, sort of. But that's just my personal style. And I'm gonna make the highlights a little bit like yellowish, and then this one blue.
Thank you, Tim. He's got a good suggestion. Cool. You can also use the spot tool, which is the 5th icon in the toolbar at the top. Then you can do the HSL adjustments by clicking and dragging on the image instead of using sliders. That's good. Good tip.
And then, this I'm not gonna touch this one. Here, you can add, so more grain or not. And here you can also add this kind of like effect here. Yeah. Which is, can be cool. If you add too much. But it's all again depends on what you're doing it. What's the purpose of it? So I'm just gonna add a little bit like this. What else? And then shadows.
It kind of hones in your eye too, like draws you towards the middle of the image.
Yeah. And then what else do they have here? Distortion. I don't use it too much. It's. But if you're into that, just
It's like a fisheye effect.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna add 0 here. Then we'll just press OK. And then you'll see how.
Very cool.
You'll see how, for example.
What a difference.
This was
That makes it so much more like, I don't know.
And now look at it. I mean, this was
Like
the
a scene
first
from
image.
Stranger Things or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Very like the clouds are all moody and everything. Are any Stranger Things fans?
Yeah, and then for example, I mean, this is the first editing. This is the second one.
Very cool.
Looks really different.
Yeah, so different. Michael is asking, that image you are manipulating, if you wanted to get rid of the sky altogether and replace it with something else, how would you do it?
Okay, I'm gonna cover that in a little bit.
Okay,
I'm
awesome.
gonna do that in a. I mean, this is a more complicated image, but I'm gonna cover how to erase the sky.
Yeah, definitely.
What I'm gonna do right now is show you another coloring sort of technique that you can add on top. So you would go here on the bottom. You would press here to add a different layer. And then you would add color lookup. This is basically
I don't think I've ever used that tool.
gives you this kind of kind of presets as well, but it can give you really cool. So let's see. Wait, first I'm gonna do it again. Oh yeah, here. Wait, before that I'm gonna do. No, okay, I'm just gonna copy this image again. Then I'm just gonna do everything here. So again. Color lookup. And this gives you some kind of presets but adds like a really
Those are
cool...
already like loaded on there, or did you get any of these yourself?
I think you can even download new ones you can find online. So it's, I don't know if you can create your own. I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
But I mean, the ones that are already there are pretty cool. So let's look at them.
And this is another coloring effect. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you see.
That's so cool.
And it's just for example, Belle there. It says I love color lookup. Yeah, it's I mean it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never used that, so I'm curious. I kind of want to try it out.
And depends a lot on like, well, I mean some
cool.
stuff are like
so
a little
Tim
bit
says
too
you
much.
can actually use Adobe Capture on your smartphone to create a look.
Oh, okay.
And then you can import it and use it in Photoshop.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna start. Well, that's a really good tip, Tim.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
So for example, look, here is you're already adding this, right? So it's changing completely the
Yeah.
image, changing completely the tone. You can also, play with the opacity here, right?
Yeah, to make it not so much.
To make it not so much. Let's keep looking at them. Crisp winter. I mean, you have this one is it's kind of similar, but still, edgy amber. Well,
Wow,
this is
yeah.
So I suggest everyone just
kind of play around with it.
Play around with it.
Works.
This is kind of cool. I mean, I kind of like this foggy effect.
Look.
Yeah. What else do they have here? I also like this when it's sort of like fading the image. I mean, it all depends on
your style.
Your style,
what you
yeah,
want to do. Yeah, of course.
I like this fading a lot. I've seen it a lot in like magazines or like in printed, for example. It looks really nice.
Sarah Little says, "Ooh, so moody." Yep, definitely.
Okay, here, futuristic. This is actually pretty cool as well.
Oh,
Look at
that's
this.
awesome.
Yeah. And then let's look at one, horror blue. Oh, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's adding a lot of blue into my images.
Yes.
So then I would just try to make the opacity
Bring
a
it
little
back
bit lower.
just a little bit. Yeah.
And then
that's
I
really
would
cool.
Try to, on top of this, I would just try to add more color balance. Let's see here. More reds.
That's awesome. It's always fascinating to me, like when people like have like layers and layers and layers of color adjustments.
And then then I'm gonna create a new like image of all of this. And then when I just take this one out, you can see like the difference.
What a
right?
difference.
And the cool thing of all of this is that you can create a inverted layer, for example, here, and you could just sort of grab the brush and just start painting on.
There you go. I think somebody had mentioned it earlier too, that you can kind of like blend it or kind of add it in.
Yeah. Yeah, and
without
it's
doing it all. Like
exactly,
you can just choose where you want it.
You can just choose whatever you. And for example, let's say you can just start playing with this and see what's affecting or not.
Very cool.
Deborah
says, "Love that so far."
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean all these presets is like really cool. You can create really cool color in your images.
Yeah, I think Photoshop has like really great like presets for a lot of their tools. Awesome. So Gaurav says, Demogorgon.
Yeah, Stranger
Things
is right now.
It's killing
I
it.
haven't watched it.
You
really.
haven't watched it? Oh my goodness. You need to get on that.
Yeah.
Any
that's
of them?
true. No, just the first. I mean, I watched the first season.
Okay. We'll
I
get
think
on the second and the
that's,
third. It's really good.
I haven't watched many series lately.
Michael Glancy asked, what are the best Photoshop effects you have ever used and still like using?
For example, I showed this yesterday, and this is one of the effects that I really like, but I use it for a purpose. It's called what's the name again? It's like, I think it's like the destruction effect.
Oh.
It's like an action in Photoshop, so it basically allows you to create this sort of effect of
Got it.
explosion.
Explosion.
Here.
Yeah. You were kind of mentioning that yesterday.
Yeah, and I use it a lot for like portraits.
Yeah.
Is
that a something that's an action like already in Photoshop
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Oh,
No,
cool.
no, I mean this one particular I bought it, but it was
Okay.
like $5. So I mean, you buy it, then you install it in Photoshop. It's really simple to install it, and then
Yeah.
you are just able to use it.
Yeah, awesome.
And then you just experiment with it. But
if you guys
that's
didn't watch yesterday's live stream, you can actually watch the replay of that. So make sure.
Yeah.
He talked a little bit about that, the explosions and how he used that in different portraits.
okay. So
Cool.
this is how.
What a difference! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
I always love doing that. Like
Yeah,
going back,
backwards.
taking out the layers.
Yeah. So so it just. It was like 20 minutes, but you end up
You
with
make
a
such a difference.
complete different image, right? And
Yeah.
you can just keep messing around and then just you just create a whole different image. It's
Yeah.
super dramatic here, right?
Yeah, very dramatic. Love it.
Which is super cool. Now what I'm gonna do is what I want to do by the end of this streaming is I want to create this like sort of version of this image, and I'm gonna show like how I do it and how I found this kind of simple way of doing it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I have all these images on Lightroom.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
gonna
so
import
many.
them. And it's basically just it's importing files. And you see, it's just
Do you want to talk about a little bit about how you set up this?
yeah.
scene too?
So as you can see this, this is my friend Ben. He's also interested in photography. His Instagram is from West Indies. He travels a lot. So and
Cool.
he's always helping me with all this,
Aw.
crazy
What a great
stuff.
friend. Cool. Deborah says, I know you're an Adobe resident currently, but who have you worked for in the past?
Well, I've been working for like different like companies and but basically I worked for NYU for a while as a resident as well. I've done some VR, AR stuff. So I've been like kind of all over the place, but
Yeah.
I like to just play with technology and try to include
Yeah.
all of that.
Integrate it into your photography.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I have all these images of him, and basically what is happening here is you set the you take a tripod, you put the camera in,
Yes.
and then you make the subject just like walk around and just make this band just posing from
me-
here,
pose
here,
everywhere.
here.
Antonar says, I never really tried to learn image manipulation, but I'm finding it really interesting. So
Yeah, no, it's I think it's really cool
It's so
because
cool.
you can just
It's so
reimagine
inspiring.
how
Yeah.
things are, right? And you can just create.
and
So
it's fun seeing like everyone's different process too, and like
Exactly.
everyone has a different way of doing things. but-
exactly, yeah. So what I'm gonna do here right now is just I'm gonna do a basic editing of. So I'm not gonna do
Cool.
something like what I did in Photoshop. I'm gonna do more like a simple one, but then I'm gonna show you how it's easier. I mean, it's really easy on Lightroom because let's say you do a photo shoot and you have the same lighting settings, right? You can just edit one image and you can apply that whole thing to.
Yes.
Here, for example, I have like 45 images.
That makes
and
it so much easier.
So I'm just gonna tweak this a little
Kind
bit
of like
around.
batch editing.
Yeah, exactly.
Philip asked, what lens did you use for these shots?
Well, for this one, I just had my zoom is a 24-105.
Oh, cool.
It's a Canon.
Yeah, it looks kind of a little wide angle, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. Do you always shoot wide angle?
No, not really. I mean, I think here I found this place and I didn't have so many space.
So much space.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So
I-
kind of need to when.
Yeah. And that's what I like to sometimes or having the flexibility of a zoom lens, because you can just adjust to the whatever is happening, right?
Yeah.
So here it's I start tweaking all this stuff around, and again, this is just my personal taste. I suggest everyone to tweak your all the settings
to how you
and
like
see.
it. Deborah asked, do you have a favorite camera setup?
A favorite camera setup. What do you mean with that?
I think maybe just like how you set up your camera. Or do you always shoot like, handheld, or if you are using?
I mean, it depends. If like, I do a lot of just walking around the streets, or when I travel and I just take pictures. And in that case, most of the time it's just me and my camera.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take my tripod, but for example, I was just traveling like 2 weeks ago. It was summer, and I had my tripod the first time, and it started raining, and it was like, wow, I hate it. It was, so it depends. You know, it depends.
And she's actually asking now about gear. So like, I think that's maybe more what she meant.
Oh, gear. So I just switched from. I've always been a Canon person. I just changed to I'm using a Sony now, and I'm really happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the sensor.
I've been hearing really good things about that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, something that I'm exploring right now, and I think I showed this before a little bit yesterday, is that the sensor. I mean, the sensor right now that I'm using, it's really big. So basically, you can just grab an image that you took from far away, and you can just
wow.
Zoom in, and you don't lose
any of that detail.
No,
Yeah,
it still
quality.
looks like really
That's
nice.
amazing.
Yeah, let me see. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's keep doing
Hi,
this.
Tima.
And again, I'm just gonna tweak a little.
Cool.
I want to make
We're
the
just
sky.
under 3 minutes, and we're gonna have our chat and win.
Okay,
So make sure you are active in the chat, because you're gonna get a chance to win some stickers. So hope to hear from you. If you are just joining us, we're here with Juan Jose. He is showing us a little bit of his compositing work, and well, right now he's starting with Lightroom. He's gonna do a little bit of batch editing and then take it over into Photoshop. So say hello. We want to hear where you're from. It's always so interesting to see different people from
And then
all over the
again,
world.
exactly. And then again, you will see how I tend to make everything a little bit bluish.
Right.
Let's see. And here, maybe it's a little bit too much when I start adjusting the split toning. But then you can go back and to the temperature, overall temperature, and just tweak it a little bit. And this is how I like it. Yeah.
Cool.
And then a little bit of sharpening.
Sarah, hello from Chicago.
Oh, hello.
Fidel, hello. Antonor, hope I win this time. I hope you win too.
Okay, cool. I mean, I think I like it.
Awesome.
Okay, let me just tweak a little things more. Kind of want to see the sky a little bit more. But also, this day was really, really cloudy, which is, I mean, sometimes it's great to take pictures of.
Right. But sometimes, like, if it's like cloudy or like more overcast, it's easier to do more of these composite works, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, this is
Cool.
cool.
Do you ever use any of the presets that are in Lightroom to edit any photos?
Not really. So,
Kind of just do more of the like
yeah.
tweaks.
I mean, basically, I use Lightroom a lot to just. I do the first basic editing there, and I love how it's faster. It's really intuitive. I think it's really easy to use, similar to Photoshop as well. But this, I'm gonna show maybe after the giveaway.
The chat and win. Yeah. Michael says, "Have you ever worked in Photoshop destructively?"
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
Probably in the beginning, maybe when you didn't know.
Yeah.
I know I definitely did.
What do you mean with that?
Yay!
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Awesome. We are ready for the chat and win. So make sure that you guys are saying hi. Hi, Alastair from London.
Oh, from London.
That's
Hello,
awesome.
hello. Welcome.
Yeah, make sure you are chatting and talking, because you are going to have a chance to win some stickers. From Bangladesh? Wow, that's awesome. Hi, Marissa. Lights, camera, action. Oh my gosh, she's going crazy. Woo! Hi, Catherine. Yay!
Hello,
We're back.
welcome back.
Good morning, Brian. Hi, Lindsay. Say hi because we are going to give away some stickers. Say hi in chat. Hi from Colombia. Feel free to give me some stickers. Yes, Lindsay. We're rooting for you. Hello from Phoenix. So it's going to be 3x3 stickers from Sticker Mule. So you'll have a chance to win 100. So please say hello. Be active in the chat. We've got Juan Jose with us today.
Hello.
Day 2. We really want to give away these stickers. Chat. Yay, Michael Glancy. Congratulations. You just won some stickers. Congrats, Michael. And of course, if you didn't get a chance to win these 100 stickers, you still have a chance to go to stickermule.com, Adobe Live 19, and you'll get a deal for 10 stickers for $1. So we're all winners. All right. So do you want to dive back in?
Okay, cool. So we have the winner?
Yeah, Michael Glancy.
Oh, congrats.
Oh, from Manchester. Awesome.
Cool. Congrats,
Michael. Exciting.
Okay. Cool. So once I have the editing here, what I would do is I would just go to edit. So I would go to the picture that I already edited. And as you can see, the next one is not edited yet.
Right.
So I just go to the previous one, edit. I would copy. And then here you can see what stuff you can include in that copy. Basically, I'm just going to use everything that is already marked because it's what it's actually. I just
just the default whatever's there.
And then I would just break copy. And then if you press Command A, you're gonna select all of them. Like you can see on the bottom, it's already selected. I would press Command to just deselect the first one, and I will go to Edit, or just right click here. And then
so right click. This little tab opened up right behind your head.
And then, oh wait, no, it's not here. Where is this? Develop settings and then paste settings.
Okay, perfect.
So you go right click, develop settings, and paste settings. And then you'll see, depending on how fast is your computer, this may take a while, but this basically is gonna affect all of the images. I mean, I think you already did it, right? So
awesome.
And then you see here
then you can see
how
that
everything
all of them are edited the same way.
Is already edited, and you with the same preset. And this is really going to be really helpful later when I'm going to start editing on Photoshop this, because you have everything similar, so it's easier to just do all the masking and start including all the characters here. Awesome. And then from here, I would just select all of them again. And here is where I want to, well, you can actually, just from here, you can either export all of these images into a folder, or if you want to work with them on Photoshop, you can also do that. You basically, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, what's your way of getting
So I would just go to Photo, Edit in, and then open as layers in Photoshop. And that's basically going to
kind of put them all together
in layers.
In layers.
I'm not gonna do that. I did it previously because I'm having 45 images. They all, the size is really big.
Yeah.
So basically,
that might take a while.
Yeah, that might take a while. So basically, what you will end up having is something like this, right? So you will have.
Got it. Okay.
All these images, one on top of the other. I mean, you can see here the sky is moving a little bit, but that's not important because I'm just.
Because you're really just grabbing him.
Yeah.
It's gonna be mainly him.
But you can see how it's. The same.
Even the trash moves a little bit.
Oh yeah, yes.
But since you're only really going to be working with.
I think the cars on the bottom. On
the
top,
yeah.
On the back, yeah. But that's not really important.
Yeah, that's not super important.
Because I'm just gonna mess up with him. So when I do a lot of this masking and playing with layers here, I do a lot of, for example, there's many different ways to do it, depending on what you're actually trying to do. It's different. For example, here, one way to do it is just to use the quick selection tool.
Okay.
And you just grab this person like this here. I'm just gonna do a quick, and then if you press Option as well, you could just eliminate what you, those
what
elements.
you don't want.
Exactly, yeah. And then you just go like here, like this. And the hand, it's a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And then if you press Command J, you just create a new layer here with just that image, and you can just.
Oh wow.
That's one way to do it.
Right.
Another way of doing this kind of things is just you can duplicate the first image. You can take it on the top. And what usually I would do is I would create a inverted layer here. You can turn down the density a little bit so you can see what's happening here.
What's happening? Yeah.
You can grab this one here, and then you would just grab the brush and start painting. Sometimes, I mean, this can take longer because...
Right, because then you have to be very
delicate
about the details.
Exactly.
And the outer edges, yeah, of course.
I mean, if you really want to make it really, really, really good, you're going to have to spend some time.
Spend some time with it, yeah.
Just...
Do you have any any tools that are your favorite when you're selecting, or?
I mean, I do. I mean, at some point, depending what you're doing, it's hard to avoid like the brushing.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So I would just suggest put on some good music or a cool podcast or something.
Hi, Felipa. Thanks for joining us.
So you see here, I'm not gonna spend so much time doing all of this.
Right.
Just really fast. Just gonna show different ways.
Different ways, yeah.
And everyone has their own or like their own or I'm just gonna show a couple of things that I use, but depending on what I'm trying to do, everything changes a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just keep here. I wonder what Michael's gonna do with all the stickers.
Oh my god, I know.
It's like 100 stickers, right?
That's a lot of stickers.
Okay, here. So I mean, I could just spend more time here, but let's not just focus on that. So another technique that I would use is first it's always good to create a new layer, because if you start working on your original image, if you ruin, you have to. I mean, there's no.
You have to go all the way back, or from the start.
Yeah. So
depending on how much history.
So now let's just use. I create another layer, and I'm just gonna use the clone.
Mark David says, since you're editing in camera raw, you're basically tweaking JPEG information. Wouldn't you prefer editing the raw file before editing in Photoshop?
Wouldn't you prefer editing the raw files? Yeah, I mean, for this demonstration, I'm just doing it this way, but...
Normally work with RAW.
So you're editing camera RAW. No. Like, I'm using the RAW images from Lightroom, and then I'm importing those into Photoshop. Yeah.
Got it. I wonder if he was looking at the previous photo when you were working on the sky and the sign.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So here, you would just press... Option to basically you just want to grab an element here. I'm just gonna go for okay, let's zoom in. So I'm gonna go to one of the far side here, and then if you see here, you can see a little bit of like, if you see where my cursor is, slightly you can see a little bit of that shoulder there. So if you start pressing like this, you can see how I just start making this person appear.
Wow. That's with the stamp tool?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I mean, you can see with the...
So I guess these techniques, you can apply them when, like, let's say you just have the one image of one person.
Exactly.
And you want to, create, multiples on the same plane.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you wanted the person to have different angles or different looks, then you would have to take photos of each of them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, if you use this technique... At some point, you're also gonna have to use the masking. Just create a mask here, rub the brush again, start erasing all those elements that you don't want. So it's just I'm just throwing there a couple of ways that I try to combine layers together. But I mean, as you could see here, I'm basically repeating the same image, and at some point it's kind of like, it doesn't have anything else. It's just the same image repeating.
Of course.
A cool thing about this clone thing as well is, okay, let's create another layer. Let's grab the clone stamp tool again. And if you go to Window, Clone Source, you're gonna have this little window here. If you press this little button here, do you see it? It's right here.
Cool.
You press this one, and then you go back again to your image, and then just grab this. Let's take all the information from this side. You go here. And basically, what you do is you basically mirror that. Oh wait, no, I didn't press. Oh, sorry. Just do it again. Just press this here. Okay. Now I'm gonna grab this information here. Let's do it.
That's cool.
You see, I basically created like a mirror version
of it. Yeah. So that's another way versus doing.
Let's say, I don't know, you are working with something and a client tells you, hey, I want to have the same image, but on the other side.
Yeah. This is a good, quick way of doing that.
Yeah, this is a quick way of doing it. And, at the end, you're going to have to...
get in there.
Again, the masking and just start tweaking
going
things
in there.
around.
Yeah. Do you ever kind of like change your brushes or anything depending on the kind of work that you do?
I love to play with brushes. I have a bunch of them. I mean, you can just download them online.
Yeah.
I really like this sort of smoke brushes a lot.
Nice.
I'm gonna show you how it can work. For example, let's just put any image on top of this. Okay, let me just see. Just grab. I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna grab whatever to just show how it can work. So I'll just grab. Okay, let's grab this one here on top. Okay, and then
and Tima says the 3 most important tools for photo manipulations are basically selection tools, masks, and layers. With just those 3 tools, you can start making manipulations, which is very true.
And then here you can just rotate the image, and then you can also play with the opacity. But then you can start adding this really cool effects or
very cool. Oh my goodness.
And you have like 20 different brushes.
Sweet.
And I'm gonna for example, I've used them in different ways. Like, let me show you a couple of things that I've used that for. Okay, where's I've used it, for example, for to create. Where is this?
Tim is right. Technically, you don't even need selection tools. You could always use masks and brushes. That is very true.
I love.
You just have to have a very good hand to be really detailed.
Okay, let me see. Well, I've been doing a lot of. For example, I did this image just using different smoke brushes and different opacities.
Awesome.
And also something more like abstract. Like I really like this image that I created. Where is this? Like this.
Oh, cool.
That's so scary. You see, it's huh?
That's scary.
Yeah. So it's a lot of playing around. You discover something, just mess around.
Yeah,
and you're gonna start finding ways of how you can apply that tool. So, okay, so let's erase this, and then using I mean this trick. Someone showed us this trick yesterday. I think it was Tim, right? No. So R, and then you press R Shift. And then you
very cool. Yeah,
awesome.
That's awesome.
That
or hit escape too.
Or of course, or hit escape.
I know every time sometimes I'm working on Photoshop and I'll accidentally rotate the image and I freak out and I'm like, how do I get it back to normal?
And then I'm just gonna create a new image of everything here. And one way of taking the sky out is For example, in this image, I think it's could be quite simple. I'm just gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna explain why I duplicate it. I'm gonna make this invisible, and I'm gonna double click on the image. I'll go to blend if, and I'm gonna grab whatever I wanna delete. I will grab blue in this case because more information is on the blue side of the sky. And then I'm gonna tweak this a little bit here. Oops, no, wait. Oh yeah, sorry. Cancel here. Yeah, I have to get rid of everything. Okay. Again, blue. And then here you can see you could just erase all of it.
That's really cool.
But you can see, for example, here on this area, I'm losing information, right?
Yeah,
because
right. Because that's also there's some blue in the floor.
So that's why I have this image on the back. So I would just make it visible again. I will make an inverted layer, and then we're just grabbing the brush. I will grab a simple brush like this, 100%.
And then you can bring that back in.
And then you can just start, painting on top.
Yeah.
And then in the way you just recover everything that you have before.
Very cool.
I mean, that's really, especially if you have really cool, or like if you have this sort of contrast between the sky.
But yeah, it wouldn't work if there was like more blended. Like
yeah, that would be,
that would have to be more in other sections.
That would have to be more manual kind of work. For example, this is another image that works pretty well with this. Here.
Oh, cool. Beautiful.
Just repeat
Love the
this.
colors.
The same, double click on the image here. You would go for the blues, and then.
Wow, that's really cool.
And then you can just go and grab any other image. For example, let's just grab this one here. Just put it here. And then this one just. And then you can start having or composing different sort of backgrounds.
Wow, that's awesome. It's like very collagey in a way.
Yeah. And you can start messing around with the colors to make them more even.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I found that technique that works very well, especially if you have like.
How did you
contrast.
come across that technique? Just messing around.
I also watch a lot of tutorials.
Yeah.
Watch tutorials, mess around, and then it's funny how when you are editing an image and you are like, oh, how can I do this? You find your own way of doing it. Remembering things from the past.
Yeah, of course.
It's just about how do you say this? There's no one way of doing it. There's your way of doing it.
Yes.
So
Very
that's another cool technique. Okay, so going back to my image here.
Felipe says that feature is really cool for cutting skies.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and it works really
If you
really nice.
are out shooting and you don't even like the sky, you can take it in Photoshop and just change it out.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And wait, you can also do the opposite, right? Let me just show you. So, for example, with the same, right? So I just put it again on Photoshop. Let's copy this.
And you're
I'm gonna just
hiding the below, the layer below.
Or you can just select green and then you can just start tweaking it. Well, no, this didn't work. So okay, blue, and then you go to the other side, right? So I just want to erase the
incredible.
ones. So it's depending on what you want to do.
Depending on what your subject or what is in your photograph. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then save. So here, once you already have this, then eventually you'll have to do manual stuff. So I would just start creating inverted layers for all of these images.
Cool. Speaking of backgrounds too, if you guys haven't, you can watch the replay of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Jesus was before us, so he showed that the challenge was to add a background blur effect to a photograph. So make sure you submit because we'll be reviewing those in about 40 minutes. So yeah, you can actually submit those in the challenge tab above the chat. So we are excited to see how you guys add a background blur effect. So cool.
Yeah, cool. So, okay, let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm just creating a layer so I can start painting on top. And here's
And what are you adding layer mask to?
Yeah,
each of
layer
them?
mask.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Inverted layer. So I'm making the images invisible, and I'm just gonna start painting on top of them.
How are you inverting them?
So when you press on an image here, and then on the bottom, I don't think you can see it because of the countdown here, but you go into layer, add layer mask. So if you just add layer mask,
I think it usually is just the other way, right? Yeah.
So the way I do it is if you press Option Alt and then you click on add layer mask, you are making the inverted layer mask. Yeah.
Very cool. And what was that again? It was Command or
Yeah. So instead of just clicking add layer mask, you press Option Alt and then you click add layer mask.
Very cool.
This. Yeah. And I love that. I mean, I think that would be my favorite tool for sure.
Awesome. Tim says, to cut out the clouds, you could use the grays blend if slider and split the blend if slider using the Alt-Op key and dragging to the left and right. That's cool. Thank you, Tim.
Always with the good tips, Tim.
Yeah, I know. He's great.
Yeah.
Hi, Ebony. Thanks for joining us. If you are new, we're here with Juan Jose. He's showing us a lot of techniques today. Cutting out sky, you know, kind of cloning and recreating a person and cloning them in different ways. So
yeah, I hope I'm not going really fast.
No,
I'm
I think
more today. Right?
I think you're doing a great job today. I know you were so fast yesterday, so no, you're doing great.
I'm just taking my time.
I mean, I'm learning. I feel like these are all techniques that I should be doing, but
yeah. Okay,
cool.
So let's start doing this, right? So right now I only have like this image.
You always take that image as a pre, right?
Yeah. Actually, in this case, so the first thing I'll just take an image without
anybody. Yeah.
But here I forgot to do it. What a mistake. So he's here. But that's not a problem because I could just put an image on top and just erase it.
Yes, exactly.
So let's start working with this one.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, lucky. So the cool thing is when you have the inverted mask here, on top here, you can just decrease the density and that's going to start making the image appear. You see, now he's here.
Okay.
And then when you zoom in, it's really easy to start. You take the brush and you paint on top. Because the whole image has the same colors, the same settings, and
everything's the same.
It's really easy.
You don't really have to worry about using a certain kind of brush or like you know, edges and stuff like that.
And then when you go back,
absolutely,
it's just there, and you are, you know, not doing anything.
Sweet.
And in this case, I'm just gonna delete his face because,
that's just how you do it.
For example, when I did it here,
so much work. You guys need to follow him. Instagram.com/JuanJose_XYZ.
When I did it here, you notice that I'm keeping the hats, but I'm not gonna do it right now because when I was editing this, I noticed that I don't have the information from inside the hat. So I had to take pictures of different sides of the hat and then just edit them, and which is
that was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
How long did this image take you?
This one was a long time. Yeah. I mean, it's also every time you do it, you start finding your ways to do it faster and better.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I'm encouraging everyone to just go and start. You know, if you like this technique, try and experiment with it, and you're gonna see, oh, this didn't work because of this, and blah, blah.
Yeah. You're like, I need to figure out a better way because it's taking too long.
And then, you know, just keep doing with the rest.
Cool. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Juan Jose is here. He's got a lot of techniques and tips to show you, and I'm sure he'd love to answer your questions.
Of course.
Awesome.
Okay, let's keep doing this.
It makes it so like creepy and eerie without the head.
But you know, I feel like a lot of what I do is kind of like creepy.
A little creepy. Yeah, I would say so. Not in a bad way, but just cool and creepy.
Well, in this case, okay, I'm not gonna use this one. Okay, here.
Is there any reason for wanting to remove the heads from somebody? Or I know
No.
you've done that in some of the other shots as well. Some of your other work.
Not really, just
Looks
I don't
cooler.
know. Yeah, I think it looks cooler. Yeah, I think it looks cooler.
I know you had mentioned yesterday something about like privacy and like.
Yeah, I mean that was the first time I started thinking on not including the faces of the characters.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to avoid privacy issues or
Yeah, if someone's like, you didn't have my permission or you didn't get my permission.
Yeah, so I just I like to do this kind of stuff. It's also fun, you create a character, you add more fiction to what you're working on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It adds like kind of like mystery to the image, like why is he
I think
why
so,
is his head disappeared?
I mean, I can just, where's this?
Yeah, that's very cool.
And then, for example, here.
When you were photographing this image, did you have an idea of like how you wanted, like everything, like was every shot that you took, you intentionally going to be like everything is going to be in the final shot, or like do you ever kind of not use a few images because you want it to look?
Yeah. For example, some of the images sometimes overlapped because I try to, make the person go backwards, one step, but sometimes it's overlaps a little bit. So sometimes I just don't use that image. And here I'm just going to erase a little bit so you can just see the other person. Okay. Cool.
And how do you decide like the focus too on like how when you're shooting this, where do you just focus? Do you focus on him?
Yeah.
Okay.
In this case, I focus on him. Yeah. And here I'm just gonna leave his hat because it looks cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Then I'm just gonna go here a little bit. I don't know. It's fun and I zoom out a lot of times and I just put my headphones and
Yeah. Do you have any good podcast recommendations or music?
Not really. I mean, it depends on my mood. I can go from.
What's your usual like editing time, or like when do you feel like you're most
At nights.
Yeah. What's like your hours?
I think someone mentioned yesterday from 11 to 2 a.m. That's I feel like it's a gold time zone.
That's the time.
Yeah, it's a cool time. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like I don't know, I guess like burnt out or like feel you start a project and you're like I need to stop for a second or
Yeah, for sure. I mean like I mentioned this before or yesterday. Sometimes when something is a surprise, it's much fun. It's
you almost want to get to it faster and you're like, ooh, I want to really see the final product of this. Yeah. Very cool.
Then the cool thing is for example, if you go here, this is the same person, right? With this technique, it's changing positions, angles, gestures. That's a lot of all those pictures, for example, of a lot of pictures from sports, for example, someone jumping or you can see the whole action is just using these kind of techniques. And I'm sure they have their own way of doing it. Mm-hmm. This is the way that I found kind of easier, but you see, it's still it's work. It's
it still is. Yeah, I mean, you're working with so many layers too. That's really cool.
But it's starting to add, and let's try to let's grab here. So here's you can see the more near the camera.
So what's the point of like, or how did the density part, like what is that, just so you can see where it is?
Yeah, exactly. Here it's just
and
basically
that way you can start painting it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So here basically I'm just taking all. So for example, if you see on the bottom, it basically changed to just a layer mask, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go into like the midpoint, it's sort of transparent. So it's good for you to
better.
see. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I would kind of always just do the. Oh well, I guess if you're starting with the layer mask inverted, then you do need to use the density. If you're just starting it with normal, then you can use the opacity. I guess, right? Yeah. That's cool. Sweet.
So it's a lot of work, but
Mm-hmm.
like I mentioned before, a good podcast or
A good podcast.
a good.
Do you have any good recommendations? Do you listen to anything in particular?
No, I'm listening to right now to a lot of like classic old reggae.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I love a good reggae. Gina Leslie asked, you said you had to reshoot the hats. Did you have someone hold them at different angles?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, someone helped me to, because in this image, as you can see, well, let me just put it again here.
Yeah.
You have like, it's looking directly at the camera, then a little bit,
Yeah.
certain angle, a little bit like this. So it's.
Yeah. How did you have someone hold that? Did you have like maybe them just like stick their hand in and you just like?
No, I mean it's just someone holding
just someone holding
from
it
the
from the
top because
top?
I just needed the bottom part.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
you just needed the bottom.
Because he was already wearing a hat, so I just needed the. So for example, this I didn't do anything on this one here because
right.
you
Yeah.
cannot
That
see
one
the bottom.
was fine.
Yeah,
You didn't have to.
yeah,
Yeah. Totally. Cool. Felipa says this reminds you of the film I, Robot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Tim said, yeah, Tim has a great, and this is probably something that you might even do. It says if you want to go the extra mile, look for a 3D model of a similar hat and add it in Adobe
Oh
Dimension.
yeah. That's true.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's different ways.
Yeah, so many ways.
In that moment, I think I noticed that, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and do this.
You did it after the fact?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I noticed after once I was editing, I noticed, okay, what I'm gonna do here, and
Yeah.
that's the
was like the-
solution
yeah.
I came up with.
Yeah, like I just got to go out and do it again. Reshoot the hat. Hi, Axel. He says, nice, reggae. Yeah, man.
It's I really like or enjoy every kind of music, honestly.
That's awesome.
Just
That's
depends
good.
on
You're versatile.
on the time or
Someone once told me that they like to listen to like really hardcore like metal like while they're editing, and I was like, oh my god.
I mean, if it works.
If it works for you,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
it gets you
Yeah.
going, if it lets you stay productive, do it.
Oh, and I just remember something right now. And this is something I discovered when I was already editing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I started here with the ones that are on the back.
Right.
You should start with the ones on the front.
On the front,
Because
okay.
at some point, the ones on the back, you're never gonna even see them. So I would just.
And then you're wasting that time.
I'm wasting my time. Yeah. So now I'm gonna do this person. I'm just gonna go to the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's things that you start discovering while you are experimenting with it. If you've never experimented with that, you're not gonna realize all the small details.
Yeah, of course. Ebony asked, did you take all these pictures before?
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
yes.
What do you mean before? Yeah, like.
Yeah, I think maybe he's asking if they're stock or.
No. Yeah, I took these pictures. Yeah.
Where did you take this? These
In
images?
in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Cool.
Yeah. This is actually I lived in a place near this area for like 3 months
Aw.
because I was
In
switching up.
between-
Yeah, in between
yeah.
apartments.
Very cool.
Okay, let's go to the bottom ones because this is like cooler.
Oh yeah, nice.
So serious, my friend. I live with it.
Love it.
Like with the whole.
Thanks, friend, for
Yeah.
modeling.
Attitude. Like.
Yeah, I like it.
Oops. No.
Yeah, I think the hat is really cool. Especially like the one in the back too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have it just like
yeah.
floating.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a couple more of this, and then I'm gonna just do a basic editing. Like
Yeah.
what I did previously,
For
or,
sure.
or like color-wise.
Cool. We've got about 25 minutes. So if you haven't submitted the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, you should do that because we'll be reviewing those soon. So, and then after that, we'll just kind of jump back in and keep showing you some techniques.
Yeah, and as soon as
Axel says, this looks so nice. I love it.
cool, thank you. Yeah, I mean it's a really cool effect. I think
Yeah.
And doing this, you also learn how to import from Lightroom and import into Photoshop using layers, masking.
Very cool. Felipa says, nothing to do with Photoshop, but have you been to Portugal?
Yes, last year. Only to Lisbon. I really liked Portugal.
Did you take any photographs there?
Yes. Well, I can show you.
Yeah.
I did a couple. Let me see if I can find them. I still have a lot of like images from Portugal. Where is this?
How long does it take you to kind of get to like images from your trips?
This is Portugal.
Oh, sweet.
I started doing like repetition of like old buildings.
Nice. That's
one
awesome.
here. And I did this one, which I really, really like. Where is this? Where is this? Here.
Oh, nice.
So it's sort of like, flooded version of Lisbon.
Nice.
But
This
I
is
want to go
from
back.
your
I want to go
Impossible
back.
Landscapes,
Yeah, I want to go back.
series.
I went, and it was February, so it was a little bit cold. I mean, it's not as cold as other parts in Europe, right? But I want to go in summer for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. I enjoy my time in Portugal.
I'm sure that provides a lot of inspiration for your work.
Course,
I mean, a lot of your images are from traveling, right?
Yeah.
And from, your home. It's in New York.
I just keep doing this. Yeah, next time I'll go north.
North. Yep.
For sure. Where do you live, Filipa?
Tim asked, do you avoid any specific colors in your work? I know some artists don't like yellow, and a friend of mine hates green.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, there's some people who like purposely avoid colors sometimes.
I don't think I do it purposely. Maybe, subconsciously.
Subconsciously you are. Well, you're always tweaking the colors anyway, so,
Yeah. But I used to work a lot with dark colors, even if, for example, I reduce the opacity of the reds on the wall here.
Yes.
To make them a little bit look not so bright.
Yeah, I'm a little more
So,
desaturated.
I think you can also see it as the way I dress. Like I tend to dress all the time like dark colors.
Darker colors. I'm the same, like blacks and grays and
blacks,
the occasional white. Yeah, I know some people like to avoid colors too, especially if you have like presets or filters that you use constantly, and sometimes those like filters might change the color in a way that you don't like it too. So people love to like avoid certain colors for just making things cohesive, I think, and
also
it's your style.
For example, if you're working with a client and they don't like, they only use, for example, certain kind of colors, right? It's interesting to start thinking of your work on colors as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What colors you use.
Cool. Felipa says, I'm from Guimaras.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, next time for sure, going north. Maybe it's time for another trip, huh?
Tim says, yeah, I do see a lot of muted colors in this photo. Definitely. But that's your style. It looks cool,
it's just
and it's
about
very...
style, yeah. Some other people, I mean, one of the other residents, she was also doing a lot of photo manipulation. And when her name is Amelie, she's doing great work. And when we talk about our projects, it's kind of sounds the same.
Yeah.
But when you look at our aesthetic, our image is completely different.
Completely different.
She uses a lot of bright colors.
That's what I love about, just kind of everyone dabbling into photography and manipulations. Like, even though we all have and use the same tools, you can create so many different images. You're you, and everyone has their own vision and style. So
exactly.
It's really awesome.
It's changing.
Yeah.
So let's
I know, and Photoshop's always adding more things. So
let's try to grab someone here. Let's just try to do it faster, a little bit fast.
Yeah, you're good.
It's at the end I have a lot of fun doing this. So that's the cool part. I enjoy working on this stuff.
That's awesome. And this, of course, is like so nice too that you like were able to kind of just like paint this on without really, especially if you're
it's kind of
using
like painting,
a tripod.
Yeah. I tried painting a couple of times. With a painting on a canvas or something like that. But I'm not really good at it.
Oh, thanks, Tim. He included her link for her photography. Amelia is working with musicians to visualize their lyrics in the form of surreal artistic scenes. That's incredible.
Yeah, go and check her out. Her work is really, really cool.
Yeah, more inspiration, guys.
And you will see how, for example, she uses a lot of bright colors. So
very cool.
Just grab this one here.
I know you're gonna mention like who was your inspiration and your inspirational photographers. If you go follow Juan Jose on Instagram, maybe he'll post something on his stories.
Yeah,
people,
for sure.
And he'll tag them.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna today after you know once we're done here, I'm gonna start reposting like artists that I really like their work. I like how they their composition, their colors.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like a lot of they travel so much.
Yeah, everyone travels so much. It's really cool.
It's cool to find a way of living that you can do what you like to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday when I first met Juan Jose, I had looked at his work prior, and he reminded me so much of one of these photographers that also does a lot of manipulations. Her Instagram handle is like Tiny Cactus.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he knew who she was as well, and very similar in the sense where it's like combining like city, but like kind of unrealistic landscapes or images. So cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool
many
places you can go for inspiration. So that's always really nice.
Cool.
So I can if I want to do this completely perfect, I will just take the time to go here.
Yeah, you get in
and,
there.
be really specific. So I mean that's the hard part, or what takes the most time when you start doing image manipulation, which is
right. Yeah, getting all
doing
those
this right.
details.
Yeah, it takes time.
Of course.
How much time do we have? So maybe
we've got about 17 minutes until we've got we're reviewing those Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges. So
I'll just do one more of this.
Yeah, you got some time.
Okay, cool. Just want to do a little bit on the left of the image, and then I'm just gonna do some color.
And this was taken the same day that you took that other shot too?
Yes,
cool.
yes.
It's cool that you can still revisit like old photographs like that, and
And what happens sometimes is I go and I do this photo shoot, right? And then I don't use all the images. I just use, let's say, 70%. Maybe a year after, I'm just, going through all my images and I see this and I'm like, okay, what if I use this for this something else?
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing.
I'm sure you like forget sometimes like what images you have. Do you have a good way of organizing them, or?
If someone has a really good way of organizing, please let me know.
Please let us know. Yeah, one of the other photographers that we watched in Adobe Live, she would have folders named depending on what the subject is, and like, very detailed, like textures or like, skies or this and that. And that was pretty cool.
Okay, I think here. Yeah, this one. Okay,
so many layers, you get lost.
So many layers, yeah. Okay, let's just use this, right? So, but if you really want to make this, like image looks really, really, really sharp and nice, you will have to invest more, like a lot of time, just zooming in, making everything looks. That's why it took me a while to make this image, like hours and hours and hours. But I like how it turned out. In this case, the difference between this image and the other is the sun.
The sun.
And you could see more shadows, and that was kind of also complicated to deal with.
Right. That becomes really crazy.
So here we just, create a copy of all of this. So here I just, let me just make all of this invisible.
Are you just like clicking and dragging?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So this is a,
Before I would just click it each one. I didn't know you could do that. That's awesome.
So here I just have this one, and then I just start messing around with that. You know, for example, what I did before, I was like to go filter, say raw camera filter, and then see what else can I.
Start messing with it.
Yeah.
Once you've got like your final
exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
Shadows here, no shadows. Clarity here. Okay, let's go here.
Cool. Sweet. All right, you guys, we have about 13 minutes. Please submit to the challenge in the challenge tab, your Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. The challenge for today was to add a background blur effect to a photograph. So we're excited to be reviewing those.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Jesus did a great job of doing that challenge, showing us how it's done.
That's true. Distortion. Well, I'll just add a little bit of distortion. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. And then maybe a little bit of this. Yeah. Cool. Shadows. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Cool.
And then on top of this, I would
sweet.
just.
That's like so fun. So different.
Yeah, so different. And you know, I forgot to duplicate this layer, so now I'm like.
Ooh. No, you can't.
So
go
important
back.
to duplicate. So I'm
Don't
gonna duplicate right
now.
And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use.
Now you're stuck with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the color lookup, and then try to mess around with the different.
That's cool. And so you can actually make your own too, your own look. Tim was telling us earlier, there's a way to do it on, if you have, I think the
the Adobe Capture.
The Adobe Capture, yeah. That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to play with that because I've never used color lookup before, so.
But it's really cool. Yeah. Can change your whole image for sure.
Timo says an appropriate song would be "Where's Your Head At" by Basement Jaxx.
Oh yeah. Maybe I'll do. I'll create my own. Made sense. Okay, let's go for this one.
Cool.
Then on top of this, I would just
Yeah, you can even make your adjustments.
Yeah, exactly.
Into a look. Tim says via file, export color lookup table, and then it converts all your adjustment layers into an LUT. Yeah.
Wait, if you go
I've only recently started discovering LUTs, so.
If you go to what file, via file.
So file, export, and then color lookup table.
Just press one to see what happens.
Oh, probably because.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yes, that's how you would. If you just had adjustments, I think, on there. But since you've got all these manipulations and
that's true.
layers.
And then here, you have curves here.
Hi, Omar. First time here.
Hey,
awesome.
Omar. How's it going?
Thanks for joining us. We are here with day 2 with Juan Jose. He's just sharing us his techniques and tips for compositing. We're working with the headless man right now.
Then just...
Nice.
Yeah, and then you'll have at the end something like this. If you spend more time doing all the masking. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Tim says the document doesn't have a background layer, the one with the lock icon. That's why.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Always providing the best answers.
Yeah, of course. It's just image. This one. Where's this background layer? Okay, cool. So now, if I'll do it, I would choose this image or edit, export.
File export.
File export.
Yes.
Export.
And then color lookup table.
Color lookup tables.
Felipa says,
okay. And
give me classes for God's sake. You're an expert. To Tim. He is an expert. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
He's the best.
Yeah. So here's really just tips on how you can create different looks, different colors. I suggest I keep saying, just go and experiment.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any tips or any guidance for exporting images? Like, where do your images mostly go, or is it all just social media, or do you ever print? Or?
Yeah, I've been printing a lot lately. And for example, this is another level of like how deep you have to go in like making everything perfect, because when I started printing, once you have it
a bigger size,
you see
exactly all the details
where you missed.
Man, I'm sure that's annoying.
and if you are working with all these layers, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
So it's cool to start naming the layers.
Naming layers.
But it's at some point you're gonna spend a lot of time doing this, but it's because you want to do it. You're gonna keep spending time. Yeah.
And does the amount of time that you work on an image vary, or how does?
Yeah. Sometimes I can spend hours on an image and I don't even like it, and I just delete it and never see it again.
Oh no! You're like, bye.
Here another tip.
Oh, awesome! Thank you, Tim.
A look via the Adobe Capture app.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm gonna start experimenting with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna start experimenting too. I don't think I've ever used the Adobe Capture app.
But it's it's cool. Really cool. All the stuff you can do with this.
Yeah. So where do you find most of your inspiration, besides seeing other photographers or
I follow a lot of design magazines on Instagram, for example, or photography blogs or design blogs. And it's as soon as you open your phone and your feed is already sending you a lot of content. Yeah. I mean, that's a good suggestion as well, because and then all these blogs, they feature a lot of artists.
Yeah.
So you start discovering new artists and new work and things that can also influence your own work.
You, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Felipa. My marble MacBook case.
And then as I can just keep making a little bit more or
do you ever think about what sometimes you could have done differently, or you would just go with it and
yeah. I mean, I had in mind doing this kind of greeting or shaking hands before.
How did you come up with this concept? I mean, it kind of seems it almost seems like a peace versus war,
Yeah. I mean, I do it. This is a kind of description of it. So this is kind of my personality a lot. I have a more serious. I have a more crazy side. So this is a meeting of those.
Of both.
Yeah.
That was medium.
The idea behind that. And I'm using a technique or two different character or subjects that I developed in the past years. This person with exploding head and the one without the head and just kind of. I thought it was going to be fun to just create this story.
Cool. Tima asks, how do you know when you're finished with a piece, or when to make yourself stop? Sometimes people overwork their photo manipulations.
Yes. So
great question.
When I first started playing around with Photoshop, I started with a project, 100 days of making project. Every day, for 100 days, I was making a different Photoshop composition.
Yeah.
And at some point, I just couldn't stop. and that became a problem because I was just spending so much time, and I stopped doing other things that I had to do. That's a really amazing question. I mean, a good advice is, Alberto Silva, won't stop, can't stop.
Yes.
A good advice is, sometimes work on something if you feel like a little bit stuck or you feel like, oh, just leave it there for a while, you know. I mean, sometimes you work with deadlines or whatever, but it's good to, if you don't have the deadlines, or you can just, you know, freeze it for a little bit.
Give it some space a little bit.
And then go and do something else, and then go again, and then you'll start seeing things that, okay, maybe I'm gonna do this differently, or okay, this is I love the work.
I love it, and I'm done here. Yeah.
There is no actually a recipe or a final answer for that.
It kind of just depends on you and kind of your intuition, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So I after I finished that 100 days, for example, I kept doing it with to learn different technologies, and I put limits. Like, for example, I don't spend more like an hour or an hour and a half, you know, depending on how much I'm doing that month. So it's good to put some limits. If not, you know.
Of course. Otherwise, you're gonna burn yourself out, and you're gonna, you know, you're gonna not like what you're doing, and
exactly.
That could be.
And like I mentioned before, some of the images, the ones that I've liked the most, for example, some of them took me 10 minutes to make.
Oh my goodness, it's fast.
It's fast.
Yeah, you're kind of a fast editor.
So I mean, but it's not because it requires so much editing. It was a simple edit.
Simple.
But you know, the image was powerful. You know. The subjects, the landscape.
Simple is good. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For example, this one, I like this one a lot. And it just, you know, it took me 10 minutes to make.
Right.
But, you know, I was walking and I saw, this was close to where I was living. This is like the building, and that's the subway. That's on Brooklyn. And then I look up and I saw that, you know, sort of like path, you know, or space with the sky. And I was like, this is beautiful. I wonder how it would look with someone jumping from there. And
Juan Jose actually has a funny story about this kind of these portraits or these manipulations that he was doing.
Yeah, so
talk a little bit about that.
Like I mentioned before, some stories are, you know, inspired by personal things that happened to me.
Yeah, of course.
In this case, the series called The Divers. When I was, I don't know, around like 10, 11 years old, I started doing a lot of backflips in the pool. And I remember I was doing it, and it was nighttime. The lights were on, but you couldn't really see too much. And I did a backflip, and then, I mean, I literally.
Oh no!
Yeah. I hit my face with the wall, one of the walls of the pool, and then I was bleeding, and then.
Oh no, that's awful.
I stopped doing backflips or, you know, jumping like a crazy person. In the pool.
And of course it's funny.
But I always enjoy watching someone doing that. And,
diving or doing backflips or any of that stuff.
That was like the inspiration of
that's
me
incredible.
Just seeing people jumping in the streets.
And then now you're putting it in your work. Look at you.
Yeah.
You're living vicariously through your work.
Yeah, so, you know, ideas sometimes they just appear out of, you know.
Out of experiences and stories and anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything, you know, is the series that you're working on for your Adobe Creative Residency inspired by something personal, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the series, but most of them are has to do with something that happened to me or someone that I know, and that's also part of why I call it impossible stories, because it's stories that, you know, somehow they're related to me, but then I add this surrealism
to it. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Felipa says, do you ever use another program besides Adobe Photoshop?
Yeah. So if you look at my website, I'm gonna show you here. Yeah, well, I think I don't have Wi-Fi here, but I've been using I
can go over to ours.
Cinema 4D, Blender, Touch Designer, After Effects, Premiere Pro, Unity.
Yeah,
I do a lot of stuff with coding as well. So you know, it's there are a lot of tools out there. Just
you just gotta play with them and see what you can create.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you like to make like different 3D rendering objects and kind of bring them into Photoshop as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things we can do.
Yeah, totally.
That's a cool, you know, it's a cool time we're living in. So
I know. There's like all this VR, augmented reality, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So we are ready for design feedback. So we're going to head over to Discord, and we're going to see all of your challenges. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
quickly refresh this guy, and we're gonna see how. Here.
So the challenge
So
was
the challenge today was to add a background blur effect to a photograph in Photoshop. So thank you, Jesus, for delivering that challenge this morning, and thank you for submitting. So let's take a look. We've got P40. Okay. So this is.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Really good, huh?
Really cool pirate guy with a bird. And then, he did a great job of blurring out the background. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Everything is like defined too.
And it doesn't look like, sometimes you add a lot of blurry, so it looks like two different images.
Two different images. Yeah, this looks really good.
Like the blending is really, really, really nice.
Yeah. I think it works in here. And it's probably really nice that a lot of the like the subject and the background are pretty distinct, that you can kind of is a little bit easier to select around. I wonder if almost like needs just like a little bit of like just soft, softness around the edges, just so that it helps blend it out into the background. But looks good. Okay, so we've got Tropical Delirio.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay, so she took care of blurring out this background over here. And it looks kind of pretty gradual too. It kind of goes, in focus and then kind of out of focus here. So you can tell that it's goes gradual.
Even erase some of the, the holes in the plant.
Yeah, she took care of cleaning up all the leaves and the plants and stuff.
Nice, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, because this is actually kind of distracting as well.
Yeah, it's really nice that you made the focus about the bird and use the blur to kind of hone in on it. Or, blur. Very nice. Thank you, guys.
And she said what? Did it right away.
Did it right away before I forget it or get busy. Nice. Thank you for submitting. Okay. Let's see. So that is the original. And then we go into the after.
Oh,
Very nice.
Even erase the...
I know. They erased the other bird as well. But that looks really good. Yeah. Let's see.
Now it's a lonely bird, huh?
I know. Just one bird. Very nice. Yeah. Cleaned up a lot too.
Yeah.
There's like the stuff that was on around.
Even
Very
the
nice,
colors,
guys.
right? Brighten the colors.
The colors. Yeah, there's kind of like a little bit of a gradient in the back too. Very nice. I would say, again, maybe just like softening a little bit or making it a little bit more gradual, because this is all very in focus, but then the water here is blurred out too, so it's almost like to make it a little bit more realistic. But I mean, if you wanted to do it that way, that's cool too. Okay, and then we've got Ant, Day 3 challenge, blurring the background. Very nice. Cool. So this is the original, and then we've got the after. Great job. I know, it's so much easier too when you have the subjects much further away from the background, because it looks a little bit more realistic. Sometimes when you have things that are closer, it's really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice job there.
Yeah, this looks great. Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
Axel, thanks for submitting. We've got Day 3 blurring the background. Whoa, very
wow,
cool.
yeah, very cool.
Added some light, and the blurring effect looks pretty cool too. It's a lot more dramatic, but I think if that's what you're going for, it looks good.
Yeah, I mean, but it's...
But yeah, it goes, and
great
it's
work,
like
right?
still focused here, and it just gradually goes into the background.
That's what
so.
is really nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's super
The
nice.
transition,
I
yeah.
love the light that's coming
With
in
the flares
too.
here as well, right? A little bit of flare.
Makes it look like it was like sun was just coming in.
Even I like the detail of how the light is just hitting the whole, the subject and the building, and even here, it's the color is different. It's bright.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great work.
Good job, Axel. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's see. We've got retouch a portrait, take 2. AXA. Right. Let's see. So before and after.
I think this is from before because it's just.
Yeah. They took out this stuff as well. Awesome.
What else?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm like trying to see what else he took out.
Oh, the mic.
Oh yeah, the mic and the wall. Yeah. Cool. Good job. All right. Here's 3, Shari. Oh, very nice. Love it. Love ice cream. So cropped in a little bit and then did some blurring of the background as well. This looks cool. I think this.
A lot of attitude.
Yeah, a lot of attitude. Cool. Yeah, great job. Sweet. Okay, thank you, Shari. And then this is Gaurav. I saw him in the chat. Okay, so this is the original, and then this is the after. Yeah, I can definitely see the blur. I would say...
Yeah, like, for example, here it's a little bit strange, right?
Yeah. I think I can see the radial, like the gradual blur, but I think it's hitting at an interesting spot. Maybe it should have been, like this should have been a little bit maybe more in focus, and then it should have kind of went, if this is on the same plane as he is, then it would have been a little bit more realistic to have this little bit of this in focus and then slowly get back. But yeah, I would say this probably needs to be blurred here.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I like that the contrast too, and the colors look a little bit more rich. Cool.
I mean, in general, the terms, like a lot of great work with just doing the blurriness.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Gaurav. Sean K.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. That looks awesome. Maybe this should be your next diver.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll just ask you for permission to use
it. Yeah, I can see the blur effect here.
Really cool.
It's good.
You took this image? I mean, it's super cool.
Sean
really
K.
cool image.
Thank you for submitting. I wonder what the before
Hey, Andrea,
looks.
look. How's it going? Thanks for joining.
Aww. Okay. And then, oh yeah, here's the one from the first one that we did. Let's see if we've got anything else. I think that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah?
All right.
And this?
I think.
Today, yeah.
I think this might have been from
yesterday?
From yesterday,
Oh,
yeah. But thank you guys for submitting.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. We'll
cool
jump
images.
back into Juan Jose's work. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, so I think I don't have...
Oh, yeah, here, let's go straight into your website.
Yeah, for example, I think I showed yesterday a little bit of what I've been doing with mixing different, for example, Photoshop and Premiere and coding as well. So just this is a way of thinking of using different tools to create just one image, and in this case it's a moving image, right? Because it has some movement from the TVs.
Yeah, that's really cool. And this image you edited in Photoshop. Yeah. What do you start with first? Do you just kind of do all the photo editing in the beginning and then kind of take it over to whatever else you use? Or?
Yeah, so in this case particular, I started messing around with editing, like doing some automatic editing using code. And then just created this kind of crazy mix of and actually if you hear with sound, it has a lot of like really it's like music, like a weird composition.
If you check out his website, it's juanjose.xyz. You can check out all of his work and some of the editing that he does on his.
And if you go backwards, like if you're here, for example, this is a really cool software as well. And here you can use 3D objects. You can use, for example, those are images that I took.
Those are all images that you took.
And I start like animating them as well.
Oh my gosh!
So that's also, for example, like a lot of So it's cool. What I said before. It's like sort of like endless kind of images. And
when did you start kind of working on these? Like integrating digital aspect to your photography?
I think like about 3-4 years ago.
Did you know how to code then, or did
no,
you
no,
just
no,
Oh my gosh.
No. So I went to school in New York. I went to a really great, crazy program called ITP. And I started learning there, but we started learning more to use it in a creative way, doing all this sort of art, creative projects, and I discovered really, a big potential on that, and I just started messing around with it. And
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions, we are here. Juan Jose is answering anything. If you want to know anything about his process, that'd be awesome. Are there any other tips or tricks that or any other filters or things that you like to do in Photoshop?
Let's see what else we can do. Let's see if I have a. I mean,
I know you travel a lot. So how long does it take you to get to the photos that you take on your travels?
Sometimes you plan stuff, and you get the images. Sometimes you don't. For example, and this is an image that I really like because you get inspiration from like real life.
Right.
For example, this image here. Looks like can be like this kind of composition with the bench in the middle of this hill, and so I just start that's what I like traveling, because I start seeing
things.
Seeing things, and for example here I want to do like maybe melt the top of these buildings here because I like the shape of them. What else? And here is an example of I built this using one of the 3D softwares that I'm learning, and basically you can just create this 3D model, you add textures, you add noise on top of that. You have a 3D model, so you can just take pictures from different sides of that.
Wow, that's really cool. What a great tool.
Yeah. And I have fun doing that. For example, I see this image and I'm like, okay, I just want to start messing around with the lines here. Maybe add more lights on that, or I don't know. But I see something, I take pictures, and then once I'm reviewing all of this,
you start thinking.
I start thinking of okay, I want to do this, and then I start messing around. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So I just go to the next image and I leave this one for later.
Yeah, you kind of come back to it. Cool. Nafisu is asking, do you have other channels like After Effects or Illustrator?
Do you have other channel? What do you mean other channel?
Maybe they mean like other programs, because After Effects and Illustrator are other Adobe programs.
Yeah. So I've been using a lot of After Effects. I think they can add a lot of really cool effects on your.
Oh, maybe Nafisu was asking Adobe Live actually.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely replays for everything, for the different kinds of
Yeah, I think if you go Adobe Live, you can just...
behance.net/live.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, really cool live streams, so it's awesome to be able to see different processes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So any travels for you? Any upcoming travels or anything that you have planned?
So, I'm going to be here for 2 weeks in San Francisco. I hope I can, I'm gonna be walking around taking pictures.
Yeah.
I hope I can live a cool adventure as well. I think if I'm just gonna relax for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know you just came back from Europe.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a challenge at the end of August.
Oh,
we're
very
gonna
cool.
we're gonna let everyone know. We're just finishing the last details.
Yeah.
That should be really cool, and I'm excited to start doing that.
Yeah.
And maybe after that, maybe I'll just go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. Awesome. Someone had asked in the chat earlier if you had finished the image that you were working on yesterday. And
yeah, so
I didn't get a chance to ask you.
Yeah, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another version, or kind of similar, and I'm gonna upload them in the next
Oh,
next
cool.
days. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, if you are not following Juan Jose, make sure you do. His handle is JuanJose_XYZ. Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm curious about this image that you created. There's this one that I'm like, how did you do that? What? How? What? Where was this?
Yeah, that's a funny one.
It's like such an interesting concept. I mean, I know it's like the same, like removing the head, but I'm curious what you were thinking.
So I wasn't really thinking on
or maybe not, because the head's not there.
This is, I started experimenting with the idea of just having the tripod and then taking images and making the model move around and start thinking of that possibility of mixing different images, but from the same point of view, the same angle, and see what I came up with. And I noticed it was really easy to just take the person's head off.
Yeah.
But this is the same. This is like the same technique.
The same technique.
Yeah. So I
just
mean,
taking one of the background and then one.
Yeah. And that's
Cool.
I found it really really interesting. I'm definitely gonna keep working on that, and let's see what
What
other
happens.
things. Start creating. Yeah.
That's awesome. On Photoshop, do you have any like favorite tools that you like to use, or like what's your go-to as far as?
So Photoshop, I love the masking and the brushes. I think
Yeah.
that's my favorite. In terms of actions, I showed before. I really 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 like this integration. This one here.
Yes.
I really like to mess around with colors. I mean, usually I try not to, like, if you see a lot of my pictures, I try not to over exaggerate with the coloring.
Yeah.
I like them to have this sort of
Just like slightly
natural,
desaturated.
yeah. But they look like kind of similar. Actually, this image was the first time I thought of making the divers.
Yeah.
There's this, if you can see here, there is this windows. This is this alley in somewhere in Manhattan. And I saw this and I was like, it would be really cool to just create an image like that and
Yeah, have them come out.
yeah.
And this was your first image of the divers series?
This was the first one. Yeah.
And so, do you photograph divers, or do you?
I was also able to do that because as creative residents, we also have access to Adobe Stock.
Very cool.
And that helped me, especially with this series, because I was thinking on going in and taking pictures of divers, but that takes
time and
Yeah,
knowing
yeah.
schedules and permission, and you never know what could happen. So
it was really nice to be able to have access to those images, and I just download the images. I had my images from the Windows, and I just started composing them, and it was fast.
Yeah, cool. I know that this diver series came about from an experience that you had when you were younger, but what sparked for you to start doing the series? Like what made you think of, I should put a diver,
When I saw this Windows.
So these windows, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And and that's something that.
Because I would imagine you probably were like, maybe I should have water flowing out of the windows or anything, but you thought of divers.
So yeah, I mean that's what I feel like I get a lot of inspiration by just walking with my camera around, because like I also mentioned this yesterday, I like to take pictures of, having general shots, wide shots, and then also focus. And now that when I photograph, I just take, I'm always looking around to see what could be really interesting to include in my images. And I'm really curious and really observative.
Yeah.
So I remember I was walking, I saw these windows, and I was like, I'm gonna create something over here.
I'm gonna create something with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna create.
That's so cool.
I didn't know at the time, but when I was reviewing the image, I was like, okay, now I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. How many images do you review? Like how many pictures, like, do you take when you're out exploring in the city or, in a new place?
Hundreds. Yeah.
And always like close-ups and
I have
further back.
A lot of.
Oh my gosh! Does it take you a long time to like kind of select, or?
Yeah, I mean,
something just stands out to you?
Usually, I take more than I use just to cover myself. And for example, if I'm here in the studio, I would just take pictures of the screens, the cameras, even though I don't know if I'm actually gonna use them.
Yeah.
So when I start editing, I just start editing the ones that I really, really know I'm gonna use, or like the most interesting, or the ones that I feel like, I wanna use these ones for sure.
Very cool. Kevin says, I like the basketball pitch picture. You could make an inverted pyramid from the pitch shape with a diver falling into it.
Which one?
The basketball. I think that was one of the images that you had in your library.
My library. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So, let me see where it is. This one here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What a good idea,
really
Kevin.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah. You could make an inverted pyramid from the pitch shape. Mm-hmm. With that ever falling. Yeah, this is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Awesome,
I love the lines too in that shot. That's very cool. So there's so many things that you can do. I mean, like once your mind starts going, you can think of so many ways to make different manipulations. That's a great thing. But
and for example, when I start including more 3D elements, right? I'm able to do stuff like this, where the diver is just jumping from
it. Oh,
it's an example of using a 3D software to compose the landscape, and then you can even add shadows, light,
and then you don't even have to leave your room to go shoot.
That's true. But it's always
the fun of it.
Yeah, it's always
you get inspiration.
Yeah. I love traveling.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's sometimes it can be a little bit, a lot of work. Just going to the airport, all the hours traveling. But it's I think it's the best thing you can do with your
so
mind.
much inspiration.
And also, for example, something like this, it's kind of simple, but I start grabbing elements that I create and then adding them into a real, but it still looks kind of real, right? It looks like, I don't know, real, not real, who knows? That's an example of using different, 3D software and start combining them. Yeah. So right now I'm basically learning and composing a lot, but I'm not using most of the 3D elements that I create because I feel like there's not still in the right. Like I have to develop a little bit more skills.
Yeah. You still have to get it down.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much to learn.
But I'm gonna start mixing them really, really soon for the residency.
Yeah. When do you get to do that? Your daily creative challenge.
So that's gonna be end of August.
Okay.
But around that area, I'm gonna start also posting pictures with more experiments, 3D and Photoshop and photo compositing.
Yeah, very cool. Well, make sure that you stay tuned for his daily creative challenge because he's going to be doing one of those. That'll be exciting. You'll be by yourself though.
Yeah.
So we're really excited. Thank you guys for watching day 2 with Juan Jose Egusquiza, digital imaging in Photoshop. Make sure to follow him on Instagram. It is Juan Jose _XYZ, and he'll be posting his inspiration on his stories and more work. So make sure to follow him. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a lot. This was really fun.
This was so fun. Thank you.